And perhaps this is going to be their call, which is why I wanted to do these series for the person that's like you going, oh my gosh, if she can do it, I can do it. Because it's not about me who's been doing this 28 years. It's really not. It's just that I want to apply this to enough people that you all realize that if you apply this same formula, you will get the same results. You just got to keep applying the formula. That's all it is.
Hello, and welcome to the Energy F.L.O.W podcast. I'm Kelly Kennedy, and I am here to discuss all things energy, fascia, lymphatics, oxygen, and water. Over my 26 years of being on this journey and 19 years in clinical practice, dealing with chronically ill, chronically pained, to the optimizing of health, and to everything in between, we have learned throughout these years how to efficiently and effectively teach people how the body works, get them engaged in that system, help them understand how the universe works and how those two connect. And that's what this Energy F.L.O.W podcast is about. Whether you are new to us or you've been a longtime listener of over 4 years now, we are so happy and honored to share our heart's honest truth about what we know, what has worked for us, what's worked in the clinical practice, and what might be the key to your next step in your journey. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing this with all that it will resonate with. We look forward to each and every moment of our genuine connection. Thank you for listening.
Hello, beautiful beings, and welcome to Energy F.L.O.W podcast with Kelly Kennedy. And I am starting a new series within the podcast that's really about how life has changed since I applied the Energy F.L.O.W, applied through the True Wellness Center. So, to that end, I have our very special and esteemed colleague and friend, Sarah Mortman. Now, when I met her, she was not Sarah Mortman. And we're going to go back to that time. She has no idea, really. She's just a willing participant along for the ride and willing to allow me to journey her through because she truly trusts the process, our time together, and everything that's occurred. So I know that she would be the first guest for this series to unfold the gift that is really you, which is really what we're here to tell the story of, is how your life changed since your true wellness began and what that really means. So thank you for listening and thank you for joining us. These are going to be short bits. There's going to be 2 per episode. And the first one is with Sarah now Mortman, previously known as AKA Sarah Eckhart.
Hi.
Welcome. Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
So now do you have an idea of what we're doing, kind of?
Yeah. It's great. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a series of a total of 6 questions. And we're going to do that in 15 minutes. So like 2 to 3 minutes per answer.
Sure.
It's like a game show. Are you ready? This is your
Ready.
life. Okay. So looking back to Sarah Eckhart and what brought you to True Wellness and what was really happening that caused you to drive 1.5 hours that very first day to True Wellness, Sarah?
So when I started True Wellness when I was 19, when I was 17, my very long-term partner very suddenly commit suicide. And I did not really know what to do with that. So I went on my own journey of traveling and trying to work my way through that, not really connecting very deeply to myself, and my body started to express that. So I ended up with really horrific skin issues and skin expressions, as well as some other things that I wasn't really aware of, but in hindsight see as like fatigue and gut troubles and various things. And after going through the cycle of dermatologists that wanted to give me birth control and all of the things, I had a couple siblings that had gone to True Wellness for allergy stuff. And my mom just said, you don't want to go conventional for many reasons, try True Wellness. So I was desperate.
and really just went, I'm not being seen in these appointments with these dermatologists and these doctors. They're not looking at me. They're not feeling me. So I'll do anything. So I drove 90 minutes and met you.
And weren't they not recommending Accutane at the time, Sarah?
Yeah, Accutane, birth control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your way that you earned money, well, one of the ways that you earned money at the time was being a very active, healthy person,
Yeah,
correct?
I was teaching yoga full time. So I had kind of traveled the world a little bit collecting trainings and was teaching about full time as you could get as a yoga teacher. And so I was moving my body all day. I was doing breath work all day. I was outside barefoot all day. I was leading a very wonderful lifestyle, but was kind of deeply disconnected and numbed over to a point that I was not aware of.
Oh, thank you for sharing that perspective, truly, because that's easy for us to say now. It was not easy then, and it hasn't always been easy. And I truly honor that you're willing to now share that as openly as you are about, the perspective of the then Sarah. Okay, so what was one of the times or the big pivotal moments that you felt like you had a shift? Can you remember one of those first times?
I
And
do.
okay, I can tell. And when approximately did that occur within the True Wellness Labyrinth?
I feel like it was about 2 or 3 months in because of all the things that I came and really I was focused on my skin. I had also had lockjaw for 9 months, which I don't know if you remember that, but I literally could not open my mouth more than like maybe half an inch. And it was excruciating. And I sat on Ian's table and I was doing emotional work with him. And I remember this so clearly that we did all this emotional work about why that was locked up. And it really came down to essentially I was waiting. I was waiting for my partner, previous partner Wesley, to like walk in the door. All of a sudden, my body was like not in acceptance that he was gone, and I was kind of like gritting my teeth, going like any minute now. And we got to that. Ian helped me get to that, and I literally felt like a little release. And then I woke up the next morning, and I could open my mouth a little bit more. And over like a few days that just like popped open. I remember eating my first apple after like a year and like biting into it, being like, this is the greatest thing ever. But it was probably 3 months in that it took us to kind of find the root of that. And then it just happened very quickly.
And so in those 3 months, we were doing, just to reiterate, could you talk about some of the therapies you were going through in addition to the emotional release technique?
So much lymph. Every single time I came into the office, I was doing lymph. And every single time I came into the office, I was doing nasotherapy to clean out my mucosa. And I was doing the salt chamber a ton.
Yeah.
And I was really doing the entire circuit. I mean, I was there for like 6 hours every time I was there, going like sauna and PEMF mat and light therapy and vibration plate and everything. I just kind of would show up in the morning and like give you guys my day and just get shuffled around.
To the little circuit of what we call now True Advantage Membership Area.
Yeah.
Excellent. Actually, I think we call it then too. So, how do you see yourself now versus then? Or maybe give me then and then now, however you want to do it. But first of all, is there a difference of then and now? I mean, I know that's a rhetorical question, but and
Yeah.
you, is there a difference?
Yeah. Huge difference. Yeah, I mean, I look back at then me, and I just was not. I had no capacity to feel. I just didn't. The magnitude of what was under my skin, coming out of my skin, really, I felt like I do. Even with all the everything that yoga had taught me, for really what is the weight of this, I do not have the capacity to actually feel this and connect to this and be like in my body while I move through and accept all of this. So it was just very kind of zombie-like. And that is not me now. I would say the opposite. I mean, of course, I'm like a big feeler and I love to feel. And I'm like, how much more can I feel? And where can I find the discomfort so I can feel whatever's behind that door? And how can I move through this to feel what's ever behind that door? And what experiences can I have? And I'm just embodied is, disconnected and now embodied. It's just completely could not be more different.
And how's your skin?
Great. Am I not close enough?
Yes. And
Great.
we'll put before and after picture here so you can really see what we were talking about. You basically already answered this in your last question because you did a phenomenal job of, unlike most, of embracing to embody this work. Some people, and however you do it, there is no judgment. It is just noticeable to me. Those that go tiptoe into the shallow end and then get comfortable before they go a foot deep, before they go, versus somebody who sees the pool after a couple of years of trying it on their own and was like, okay, I'm just going to dive in head first and do all the things for 6 hours once or twice a week for 2 years. And it took a couple months of that as a 19-year-old of busting her butt, making her own income, living, hand to mouth, and throwing an out of pocket wellness experience in that through that process and figuring it out, which was in and of itself a little traumatic and stressful. And it was a long distance away. So it's a lot to juggle. And what I want everyone to realize is that it was her devotion and her persistence and her desperation that breeded her compliance. She used the word desperate in the beginning. That bred her compliance because she just couldn't take another minute of it. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. I just knew. I knew that I had been given so many, in quotes, tools through my community and through learning everything I had learned, and still it had not really moved a deep needle. So it was okay, well, I've really given this my best go alone, and now I just need to like throw myself into their arms and go, what do I need to do? And there was certainly resistance to the truth of that, which I'm sure you remember in the beginning. It took a couple sessions of really going, there's a this is what this is about. Are you ready to dive into that thing from 2 years ago? And me being like, are you sure it's that? And you
Yeah.
like, yeah, which I knew, but there was still a part of me trying to be like, we can't skirt around this just a little bit. Uh, and then going like, okay, clearly that's not an option. And I know that that's not the way to go about this. So, okay, take me. What do you want me to do?
And it was that surrender as well, the receiving of the that created the shift of, before we can get love, we've got to be able to receive love. Right. And you started to receive it from yourself really and being willing to face what was on the inside. And one of my questions was, do you ever feel stuck? But based upon the fact that I continue to look for dissonance and pain and issues and problems, I'm not sure that is. And, I would say that you felt stuck, right, in the beginning. Do you feel stuck now? And if you do, what do you do if you feel stuck?
In this moment, no. In the last 9 months, particularly, because there's other things going on, sure. And in the time in between, I mean, there's so many layers to peel back that there's certainly walls that I've hit and felt like a plateau and knew that I needed to drive deeper. And what I do with that every time I feel that, because I notice it quicker and quicker, and I don't like being there. Whereas before, I was a bit more okay with being a bit stuck in times. It's usually texting you and doing, being reminded and reminding myself like, okay, I have tools now. I need to move. I need to scream. I need to move my lymph. I need to, okay, I haven't been on anyone's table. I haven't taken care of myself. I haven't, you know, the stuckness doesn't. feel so bad because it always feels like it brings me back to the movement, if that makes sense. Being
Yeah.
stuck makes me move through again.
Yeah, and it makes us apply the energy of flow, really, right? Apply the science of going a little deeper, as you said, and going to kick it out, scream it out, yell it out, move it out, dance it out, and go and discover, okay, what is this resistance? What am I holding on to? And discerning, do I want it or not? And, you've become an excellent student of that. Bravo, sister. And really, and being able to teach it to others is a skill set. Only when we can do it can we teach it. And it's why you have the success you do in the work that we do, as well as in your life. So, how do you make sure you continue to feel those shifts and moving forward, which you just answered? So, I'm going to skip that because we know how she continues to make sure she looks for it. And have there also been life circumstances that have created it for you?
Yeah,
I would say you co created, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah, we will leave those that shall not be named to be not named. What has been the biggest surprise? This is the last question. What has been the biggest surprise or powerful thing that you've learned and that has allowed you to have this change since applying true wellness into your life?
I am the creator and co-creator. I mean, it's the most daunting and empowering truth that I know. And it always snaps me back because if I'm stuck, I created it. And if I'm moving, I created it. And you can crumble under that a little bit sometimes because and feel some weird sense of accountability and blame and guilt, or I can go, okay, if I made that, I can make this, and I'm in control of this, and I can shift this. And I have to constantly choose. I know that, and I think so many people kind of know that, but I think that there has to be a shift in choosing to let that empower you versus debilitate you under some sense of blame. So I always come back to, like, okay, well, I did this for me. I created this for me. I can use this. This is for something. I'm not meant to feel this to be stuck in it. I'm meant to feel this and created this to get to the next version and the next skin and the next level and the next, this is coming up so I can shed it, basically.
And then be free of that so I can create what I want to create and no longer have those filters and those snags and those binds that were trapped in the tissues, as we say, right? Issues in the tissues. And when we all get to apply this, because this isn't unique to Sarah, it's not unique to Kelly. It's every single person has this opportunity to apply this science and keep going deeper and deeper and find the gift. Because did you know you were a gift when you walked into True Wellness 9 years ago, however long it was?
No.
Do you know now you are the gift?
Oh, yeah.
And that's the best part, right? That's knowing that you're the creator and the co-creator and that you get to create your own reality and do what you want. And it changes your physiology. It changes your presentation. It changes your symptoms, changes your physiology because regulation creates your physiology. We've seen it over and over and over again, even when we've questioned it, haven't we, Sarah?
Yeah. And I know this is I won't go deep because I'm sure we'll have another video at some point in the future. But, there's been something occurring in the last 9 months, and I did every protocol under the sun. And it was not until I came back to that knowing and the creation of this and went into the emotions under it that everything physically started to shift. I mean, I could not have forced more for a short period. And then how quickly my body shifted once I got the other layers involved was just another reminder I created to not forget again.
Yeah. That we're not just physical, that we're spiritual and emotional. And I have the opposite lesson. We are physical. Don't forget that, not just emotional and energetic. So, yeah, much love to you. And any other tidbits of wisdom you'd like to share as your journey continues and you're farther down the road, as folks that are listening to this, unless they've been with us for longer than 8 or 9 years and have applied this to free themselves, which has been many, of course. We're going to tell many in that series, but any tidbits?
It really does get fun. Even when there's another crisis and maybe it's not so fun it does get fun. I mean, it really, even in the pits, it's entertaining if you let it be, and remember that it's fun. It can be fun. Are you having fun? Less effort, more fun.
So it is. All right. Stick around for part two. So, welcome back to part two. I have another wonderful guest for us, as we did in part one, to share her story of what life has been like since she discovered her true wellness. And Trina Cameron is not been around nearly as long as Sarah, but as I mentioned, it is your ability to dive into the deep end of the unknown. It is your trust and your faith that allows you to have your compliance equals your results. And Trina's story is so beautiful because we've been around the world in a short amount of time. So welcome, Trina.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm happy to be here.
So I appreciate you, like Sarah, just trusting me and not really knowing what you're signing up for today when I asked you to, hey, can you hop on a Zoom with me and talk about some stuff for the podcast? So my first question is, looking back at TC, who came in whenever that was, maybe 2 years ago,
Three.
3 years ago, looking back at it 3 years ago, Trina, what, first of all, brought you to True Wellness? What was happening, and what allowed you to drive yourself, what, 2 hours to come see us?
5 hours to come see you.
5 hours to come
5
see?
hours. Yes.
So what allows you, wow, God bless your soul. Why did I think I was closer to 3, but 5. So 5 hours. What was that? What was going on?
I think it's really interesting that we're filming this on a day when your Instagram post came out that talked about what the heck is Kelly talking about? I don't understand anything she's saying. And yet I certainly feel her. And I'm curious. I had been through all the things that everyone else experienced, your allopathic medicine, your alternative medicine, your functional medicine, and the needle had stopped moving probably a decade ago. And I thought, I'm an intelligent creature. I can't seem to change habits. I'm stuck and just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Um, with, I think what I shared with you is I felt like my light was going out. And so I heard about True Wellness through, um, I guess she's considered an alternative wellness or alternative physician. But the way she described True Wellness was like, if you can go anywhere, go here. And so I thought, I don't know, there was just this pull and this curiosity, and I couldn't let it go. And I knew about you all for 6 months, 9 months probably before I came. So it was just that curiosity of something has to change, and it's got to be something different than I've done before.
All
So
right. Well, that was very clearly who you were when we met you, for sure. I'm very curious It's taken me 9 months to follow that curiosity, and yet I can't deny that there's something here.
Hmm.
Did you say that? I didn't put any words in your mouth.
No,
That's
you
all.
did not. No, you did not.
So thank you for that, Trina. Second question. What was one of the first big shifts that you remember or the pivotal moments and approximately how long into the journey? Because I know for you it wasn't just so like, oh yeah, I came in, I did my one day and I'm out. It was more like, I don't know, I did my one day and I'm not really sure how this went and what the heck just happened. When do you remember that pivotal moment?
It wasn't really a well, there was a pivotal moment much later.
Okay.
But in the beginning, I came, I experienced for a couple of days a lot of body work, a lot of, live blood, muscle testing, things that I wasn't really familiar with, and I didn't really know how to process it. It was different, but I didn't feel changed, which was
Hmm.
an expectation. That's, my fault, not yours.
Okay.
Um, and
Beautiful.
um, when you leave after a couple of days or a day, whatever, I don't remember what you call them, but I had a plan. And the
Mhm.
plan was, in my mind, full of things to do. And I could barely get any of them done, but I just kept going back to it because there was this pull that now I would call source. It was a definite pull that stay with it, stay with it. And one of the things you had recommended was breath work, and through breath work with Sarah, that got me through the 9 months to my next visit with True Wellness. It was during that time that source, spirituality, finding yourself, all that connection began to open up. And um, I kept showing up, even though I, again, was not changing. It took me months to feel something and to take a baby step forward and, 5 steps back and another step forward. So it was a slow pull, a slow burn until I came back for a 4-day immersion. And those 4 days really changed the trajectory of the rest of my life.
Aw. Oh, Trina, I love you so much.
Oh gosh, I love you too.
I would love to offer you a reframe because 9 months, my friend, is not that long. I've been doing this for 20 freaking 8 years. And like 9 months was a long time because, in all honesty, you came in and you speak now of like spirituality, even holding space is still somewhat foreign concepts, even though you're pulled to it and you're now calling it source and different things. But the way you were raised or cultivated was not one of spirituality, it was more of religion, correct? And
Right.
so, and at that point, when you met us 3 years ago, it was even like kind of like not religious at that point, correct?
Yeah. Hmm.
It would like fallen away so that when people say spirituality, it's almost like for those of us that were religious, it's like,
Right. Right.
wait, wait, wow. And and that can create resistance, right? Which is lack of trust. And it only took you 9 months of working with Sarah and helping you create a relationship with your breath, helping you create a relationship with yourself to start to trust yourself and that pull, which then in lied, allowing you to trust us and coming in for 4 days and truly receive the gift of Trina, which that's what changed your life. You let us finally unwrap the gift of you and allow you to see your brightness and your beauty and your wisdom and your pull and how you've always done the right things. Your body's always done the right things, and that everything was just misinformation along the way. But when it's reframed, all of a sudden you go, wait, yeah, I am. Yeah, 9 months is all it took me. I licked that in 9 months.
60 years and 9 months, but okay.
We might still have a little bit of reframe in there. Well, that's okay. I mean, honestly, though, I mean, we have people that are 90 and that never learned it, and then people that are 60 that aren't even in the scope of learning it. And perhaps this is going to be their call, which is why I wanted to do these series for the person that's like you going, oh my gosh, if she can do it, I can do it. Because it's not about me who's been doing this 28 years. It's really not. It's just that I want to apply this to enough people that you all realize that if you apply this same formula, you will get the same results. You just got to keep applying the formula. That's all it is. So, how do you, well, this kind of answer, how do you see yourself now versus then, 3 years ago?
Well, what is the list that you always say? I don't know how you separate it: spiritual being, physical being, energetic being, emotional
Mental.
being, all those things.
Yeah, good job.
Every one of those aspects is changed. That um, physically, I know how to support my body to let it do what it knows how to do. That was not a concept that had ever, maybe it had been mentioned somewhere along the way, but there was no one sharing the details behind that.
Mm.
Um, my body was full up with emotions, ancestral childhood. It was full of toxins, lack of oxygen, lack of structured water, all these things. Um, and now you mentioned it just a minute ago about space. I was like, that just sounded like a very poetic term, but now I understand there was no space in my body to change. And you all taught me how to make space and keep that space, how to not let it fill back up again. And when I came to True Wellness, I think I was kind of looking for another protocol. Well, there's a detox missing, or, I knew that one more supplement wasn't going to be the answer, but I sort of thought that it was going to be something outside of me. And, the most beautiful thing you all taught me was know how to support your body to just let it do what it needs to do. And once you have that space, you can more easily change habits. And when you're connected to yourself, you can find your purpose and you can stay on track. None of those things were happening before. Did that answer your question? Because somewhere I lost the question.
100% home.
Okay.
Really, I mean, you're exemplifying the space issue. Is I was literally just working on the June newsletter, and this concept of space for the lymph can't be understated because it's only when we have space can we hear and listen to the heart.
Mhm.
And there's so much clutter. And at this point in 2025, as we record this, it's like you have to be phenomenal at creating space because we are infiltrated upon in every one of those levels: mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, and physical, to be controlled in some way, influenced in some way, rather than be the influence. And that is the freedom that liberating your lymph and freeing your fascia and opening the oxygen and getting the energy to flow through your body for the water to structure is really that what we're applying. I mean, yes, this is my love, this is my passion, this is a mission that I feel that truly that I'm on, to help free everyone from the shackles of thinking that anything is outside of them, everything is inside of them. And you nailed it. Nailed it. So, how do you ever feel stuck now?
Oh, sure.
And what do you do? Do you have tools now? And it's okay if, it's not perfect. It's okay. You know me, I'm looking for the truth.
Oh, I know. I do have tools. I think what I was going to add to how things have changed for me, which goes right into this question, is I know how to regulate now. Where before I would just spiral and spiral and spiral and spiral and spiral down and just get lost in that emotion. And now I might go there, but I'm like, okay, there are forces against us. You know how to get out of this. And so knowing how to regulate yourself emotionally, whether it's through breath work, whether it's through exercise, and I don't mean good old diet and exercise. Maybe it's a walk in nature. I mean, I do those things now where before I wanted to do them, but I never did them. And now it's the way I find my way back. And so that's really powerful to know that you're not just some victim in this world that, whatever's being thrown our way, whether it's intentional or not, whatever comes our way, I guess, we do know we do have tools to stay strong and continue to move forward. So I know how to regulate better now. Quicker. Yeah.
I think of the Whitewater Rapids as you're talking, and like, when you first come into True Wellness, you're like, I've been on the rapids for a long time and I'm just getting slammed from side to side. I have no idea how to actually handle the boat. And then we come and go, did you know you could use your paddle? Did you know Did you know if you use your team, you could actually like
So perfect.
yourself, and that you got it all right there in the boat, everything you need? And it's hard to trust that because we've been trained, programmed against that. We've been programmed, and it's a lot to overcome. And I do know and think and feel that what you allowed yourself to do over the time that it did take you at 6C to learn this was that you allowed yourself enough education to make you feel calm enough to understand what was going on, because there is a science behind this. This is not just about the woo woo, so that then when you are up against a challenge, you're applying the knowledge that you know and going, okay, is this going to fit into this formula? And will that release this so that I'm not putting it in here? Because math and science and God is the same thing, as I say, right? And so it's just applying the formula of like, okay, what's happening, witnessing it as we teach and all the things to allow you the freedom of choice versus the victimization or the martyrization of a circumstance.
Right.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, two more questions. It's like I feel like it's a game show. I'm going to call it the game show of how'd your life change since you applied True Wellness? Okay. Question number 5. How do you make sure that you continue to feel the shifts to move forward, or have you applied it to a point where you're like, hey, I'm good? That's a
Ask me,
perfect.
ask me that again.
Yeah, it's kind of like a personal question, to be honest with you, because I feel like my son says the word satisfied all the time, right? And one of the things I've learned about myself is, gosh, I feel like I'm always growing and always changing and always applying and always trying to get more optimized and always trying to make it easier and better. What is it that causes you to continue to make those shifts? Or have you arrived at a point you're like, hey, I don't need to keep growing. This is awesome where I'm at right now. No judgments either way. I'm just curious.
No, I've not arrived. I don't expect to ever arrive. I think there's just too much unknown that we can have a gut feeling about that we understand, but then some other piece of information or person comes our way and we're like, oh, that's very interesting. That may be part of the truth too. So no, I don't feel like I've arrived. When I say I waited 60 years and 9 months, and I didn't mean to make light of your reframing. I knew that there were answers, and I'd struggled my entire life, and I was done. I wanted answers. So it was frustrating that I couldn't get to the place that I wanted to be. But now that I have totally different tools and a total different understanding
Mm.
who I am and where I came from and this physical body and how it works, it doesn't, going faster is not the right phrase. It's, I'm just not slowing down at my age. My husband keeps talking about retirement, and I feel like I am just getting started.
Yeah.
There are people who need to know this information. Like, you go golf, that's fine. I've got things to do. So I feel like I've just now discovered the information that I've been looking for. And I also feel like now is the time that I was supposed to discover it. I mean, how else could it be?
Of
You
course.
know, I
Of
mean, this
course,
was
of
my
course, of course.
path.
This
I
is
don't know.
It's always perfect timing. No, it's true, and I feel the same way. And Sarah said in our time together that this is gets more fun, right? And it's
Yes.
that's what keeps me going. Is actually gets more fun, and the more shifts you make, the actually deeper you get, and it gets harder sometimes too. And then it gets more fun. It's like I saw this visual the other day of a tornado on one half of the screen and a rainbow on the other half of the screen, and it was like a perfect rendition of what life is about. It's the yin and yang, it's the dark and the light, it's the shadow and the light, it's the good. There's duality, yes, however it's within the everythingness and the nothingness and the space, and it's the excitement of being able to experience it all with the framework that allows you to not be attached, right, to the things, and just be like, wow, I got to love that much. I
Mhm.
got to love that person for as much time as I got to love them, and in that way. And now that relationship has changed. I'm not with that person anymore, whatever the case may be, or that experience that I had. And that's what the beauty is. And so, my last question is what is, I want to make sure well, I wrote it down and then, okay. What is or what was the biggest surprise or the most powerful thing that you've learned since finding your true wellness, if you will?
I think it's the breath. I mean,
That's her answer. That's so good that that's her answer.
I didn't give it credit. I don't think there are the right words to describe what breath work will do for
Breath
you.
practice. I'm trying to change it for breath practice because work is like heavy. So
Sure.
practice, breath,
Yes. I appreciate that.
yeah, breath practice.
Um, yes, breath practice. Understanding it now, when you talk about shifting or regulating, you can fix if I can remember to do it. That's still a challenge. Is, oh, I've got this tool. Oh yeah, let's use it. The shift happens so fast. It's not fancy, but it is right here all the time.
Free. It's free.
Yes. Yes.
Learning how to use the tool is the skill. The tool itself is free.
Mhm. Yes.
And unfortunately, we've been programmed to not use it. So that's why we have to some kind behind a paywall to learn how to use it, because that's how we make a living and teach people how to apply what we do. And what's cool about it is how much less money, this is a new question, how much less money have you spent on your health?
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness.
with the exception of buying equipment, that she's now become a practitioner and blown everybody out of the water because she started a second career in her 60s going, yeah, I'm going to become a practitioner, even though I had no
Found my purpose finally.
time on purpose. Yes. Outside of buying equipment for yourself, even though you came in, you've done deep immersions, which are thousands of dollars. Would you say you've spent less money since you've applied your true wellness or more? I don't know. I could be wrong on my answer.
I know.
I guess it is.
I would say before learning the tools about how to support your body for your body to do exactly what it was designed to do, I was spending so much money on supplements.
Mhm.
And I remember my husband and I laughing that I was being held together by vitamins. We'd go on vacation and I'd get out of my routine and I would fall apart. Now, was that mental? Was it physical? I don't know. But it felt like it got me through, maybe. But now just about everything I do is food. It comes, whether it's dragon's blood or whether it's chlorella, whether it's what else?
Remineralize minerals.
Right, minerals. Yes. I mean, I just I don't pick apart, I'm going to take B6 or I'm going to take this, it's just like it's all there for us. I mean, that of course you got to have a pure source and all those things, but Yeah, the money I'm just saving on eating good food and taking whole foods as my supplements.
And
That's
right, and breath
right,
again. So
right, right.
that's wonderful. Well, is there any other, thank you so much for answering this and being so willing as you've been today. Because I know you and I know this was not, if I had asked her to do this a year ago, she would have been like, you're nuts. No, I'm not going to do that. Or even 6 months ago, maybe to wanting more prep. And
Right,
you've
right.
changed so much. And I honor how much you've continued to expand. And not that we all need to change, and yet rigidity breeds limited life. And as we want a more expanded life, we find that changing is the inevitable thing we have to learn to get really good at to
Right.
expand who we really are. And you have, again, just PhD exemplified that trusting ability, including today's presentation or today's interview. Thank you so much, Trina. And what piece of information or advice or tidbit would you like to give out to those listening that, you feel like you don't want them to miss out on?
Oh, that's the part you'll have to edit out because that's the part I'm not going to spontaneously pull out the top of my head. Oh man. You
Don't
know, I, I
pull it out of
guess
your heart.
what?
Pull it out of your heart, not your head.
Good point. I guess really what I would say is that gut instinct was always there and I would ignore it. And I knew when I was ignoring it. And I did it anyway because maybe it wasn't socially acceptable.
Mm.
I was disconnected from myself. So I didn't trust myself, which made it difficult to trust other people. So if you're getting even small messages, I would take the time to sit and listen to that. Because looking back when I listened, it was always the right, meaning that deep knowing, not just a thought comes in your mind and, oh, because you can create a story up here, but that really deep knowing of listening and feeling in your gut, I don't think it ever steers you wrong. And I don't think we're taught to listen to it.
Sage advice, my love. Sage advice. It is true. It is. I hear people all the time say, "Oh, I don't know how I found you. I don't know how. I just had a pull. I had a calling. I just all of a sudden, you came up 5 times, whatever it is." And then I ask them questions like, how many times in your life had you had a hit and then you ignored it and then you kicked yourself in the butt? And I've done it too. And when we stop doing that is when we're actually in alignment with ourselves, because we honor ourselves, we trust ourselves, and that's real self-care. And that's what we're here to learn, how to listen, because that path is the path to the promised land. And it will not steer us wrong. I guarantee you that. It is for your highest and best good. That is one thing I can guarantee you. When you truly know how to follow your heart, it is your way out of whatever hell you're in.
Mhm.
Create all of that ourselves. So
1000% agree. Yep.
thank you so much, Trina. Thank you for your openness and your willingness and wearing the color green to show us your heart.
It's all I own. By no accident, I'm sure.
I'm sure that's true. First Energy Center. We love you and we love you all. And thank you for joining us, and subscribe. It does help us have other people find this show. And we love you, and join our membership forum. If you need community, come in to the center. If you need us to physically hold you, and know that everything you need is inside you. And if you need help to facilitate and uncover the gift being you, we're here for you. Thank you all.
Well, champions of the vibe flow community, energy flowing through that body, thank you for sharing this time with us and getting through the entire episode today. I know time is what we're spending here as our currency on this planet as people. And it really does mean a lot that as we devote our time and energy into creating this content, that you stuck with us throughout it. So if you would like more on this particular subject from this expert and get that free gift, make sure to register for our Energy F.L.O.W forum. And you too, with a very nominal price, can access all sorts of upgraded content and deeper dives into the very subjects that you love: energy, fascia, lymphatics, oxygen, and water. As you know, as always, on this show and any content that we create, it is for your own health purposes. This is not intended to be advice or medical diagnoses or professional advice. It's purely information that if it resonates with you and you apply it and you upgrade, we love to hear about it. What a great coincidence, and we're happy to be on that journey with you. If this doesn't resonate with you and you know somebody it will, pass it along. And in the meantime, know that we truly are here to show you and explain to you and be with you through this lovely journey of life, and to share our experiences together and help each other upgrade, because that's how we're going to do this, together, collaborating with love at the center. I'm Kelly Kennedy, and I am so grateful from my heart to yours to share this time, energy, and space with you.